Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Abby. I'm a recent college graduate as of December, and I am going to be discussing change. Now, before we get into this, I want to say everything I'm saying in this video is true, but I am still growing and changing in this area, and I'm still learning, and I do want to say I am much better than I used to be. I used to be very resistant to change. It was very difficult for me to look at change and have a positive relationship with the idea of change. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, change is a part of life, and it comes in many different forms, whether that's you're physically changing, or the environment you're in is changing, or you are going from one state to another, one place to another, whatever it may be. Change is always around us, and there's no way to get out of it. Like I said, I used to hate change, and it was something that was very scary and apprehensive. It would make me honestly anxious. Change would make me anxious. But yeah, a little story, I used to live in Scotland. I was born in the US, but I lived in Scotland for a few years, and towards the end of our stay, Scotland has always been really rainy, really dreary. That's just the weather it has. And towards the end of our stay, it was starting to get warmer and warmer in the summers, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to leave. I love the summer. I love the heat that it's giving this summer, I guess. That's what I felt in my little body. And she was like, Abby, it's just this warm, if not warmer, in the States. And I was like, okay, say less. Let's leave. But normally, I would have such a difficult time, but I guess that time I didn't, because my mom always has the right thing to say to calm me down for a discussion like that, and just change in general. My mom's very good at helping me navigate change, and not everyone has a person like that in their life that can help them navigate change. I'd say see a therapist. I'll probably have to go to a therapist in general soon, to help me navigate change and to help me navigate things in my life as well. But yeah, and I did see a therapist at one point, and it kind of talked about change and that and stuff like that, and so it's very helpful to do that. But I used to rely heavily on routine, and if my routine changed slightly, I would freak out. I think this has to do with the fact that when I was born, my mom made me very I was on a schedule. I was a very scheduled kid, and I knew what to expect, which is I don't think that's my mom's fault. It's just my personality is I am the type of person that needs to know what's happening. I need to know how to expect it. The first time is so difficult for me to do anything, trying a new food, anything. Anything is so difficult the first time, and I think that's a lot of people can say that it's hard to do a lot of things the first time, but then when you start doing it more and more and more, you get more comfortable, and it comes easier for others. It comes harder for people like me, and I used to be resistant to change for a very, 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 very long time. I'm trying to make that very clear. What got me to change my perspective on change was the idea of growth and self-growth, and just personal growth. I feel when I started implementing personal growth practices in my own life, I became more and more and more and more comfortable to change. Also, when anything negative happened in my life, I'd be like, okay, Mom, I'm ready to pick up and move again. Let's do this. But yeah, I feel that's everyone when something bad happens. You're oh, so-and-so's being mean to me. I'm ready to go, ready to leave. There's drama happening. Let's go. Anyway, you gotta look at it from a different perspective. If you're just looking at it from a negative perspective, and if change has only been negative for you, then it's going to be more difficult to change and to want to change and to look at change in a positive way. Growth is a part of change, and without it, you would not change in a positive way. You would just be going backwards, essentially. So, yeah, take that with what you want. What I'm trying to say is that once you look at it from the angle that I am learning to look at it, or I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm changing as a person, it seems less and less scary. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes, like anything in life. My biggest breakthrough came in college, because if anyone has been in college, no matter if you're a residential student or a commuter, like everything is constantly changing. No day is anywhere near the same. Even like every Tuesday is different, every day is different. You have different assignments, you have different people that you have to meet with, you have different things that you're doing, different exams you're studying for. Once you have 16 weeks in a typical semester. Once those 16 weeks are over, you're going into a different path, and friendships change, seasons change, and it's just not the same every single time, which can be sad, but also can be good. And you may not see your friends as frequently one semester as another. You may change friend groups from freshman year to senior year, like I did, but it's all good change, and it means that you're growing as a person. You're constantly having to figure out a new routine. Your friendships change. One minute you're besties or in a relationship with someone, the next minute you wake up 5 months later and you're no longer in that relationship, no longer friends with that person. They become a stranger to you. Or you integrate into a new friend group. Every single day is different. Where before my days were very predictable, they were in it, not that they were not in college, but like, I mean, you have like a somewhat of an idea of what's gonna happen, but I feel like in college I was so much more spontaneous than I was before, and somewhat now. Like if someone was like, oh, you want to go off campus today? Like I'm rigid, and like I need a routine where it's just like that needs to be planned out. Like I can't just go on a whim. Like can't go off campus for like 3 hours and then come back. Like I have things to do. I'm an important person. I had a job on campus, all that stuff. But for some people, they were so spontaneous that they would just literally leave for hours and hours and then come back. But just like I was more spontaneous, meaning like my friends would be like, oh, do you want to like do this right now? Or do you want to do that? Or like, do you want to go to dinner now? Or like you would make dinner plans day of, maybe minutes before dinner, like that type of thing. Where in my kind of like a high school friend group, like, you know, like you just like vibe. My college experience was somewhat like a high school experience in general for me, just because I was homeschooled. So, and a lot of people who I was in school with didn't have the typical high school experience because of COVID. Anyway, as time goes on, you learn to adapt and change and embrace the change that life throws your way. You learn to roll with the punches and enjoy what you previously hated, in some respects. You learn more about yourself and you start to become a better version of yourself every single day. Because you are not the same today as you were yesterday unless you stay in one spot and you don't change as a person and you don't make those efforts to become a better person. Something that you may have deemed as scary may not actually be scary. You may have you have to frame it positively in your mind, or you will be stuck in it for the rest of your life. Most things in life are out of your control, but how you react to it is in your control. I feel like a lot of change has to do with control, and a lot of people, me included, have issues with control where we literally get anxiety if we can't control a situation or control someone's behaviors, which is like really weird. Like why I mean, like you just really have to detach from your anxiety at that point. But I know it's harder in the moment to detach and be like, well, this person's making me anxious because of the way that they're handling this situation, or this situation's making me anxious because I can't control it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. You know what I'm saying? But you really just have to detach from those negative emotions. Like, they say you feel your anxiety. Yes, feel your anxiety, but sometimes you can be a negative Nancy in this situation. You really have to detach and be like, well, no. And I feel like it's like your anxiety is like telling you you're not safe when you really could not be safe. That's true. But in some situations, it's just like, if your friend is reacting one way and you're like, oh, I don't like this, because like, how is their action really affecting you? How they're doing stuff really affecting you? Like, you really need to think that. Like, I'm really preaching to myself. Like, there are moments where it's like, I am just like not enjoying a situation because of the way some person in the situation is doing something, and I'm just like, that's not how I would do it. Well, you're not them, so it's like, calm down, you know? They can rattle you, or they can make you into a stronger human being. You get to choose. That choice is really up to you. You get to think of it more positively or more negatively. You can continue to be resistant to change. I'm not telling you to accept change in one day. I'm just saying, do a baby step to like become better, and to be like, change is good. Change means that you have the ability to make yourself a better person. I think once I've realized that, then other change didn't become as scary. We moved quite a few times in my lifetime. Like, we moved states. Like, whenever we've moved houses, it's mainly been states. There was only one time where I moved from one house to the next in the same condensed area. But like, I moved states. I moved across the world when I was 3. I moved back when I was 8. I moved states again when I was in, my family moved states again when I was in college. I think it was my sophomore, going into my junior year. So I had 3 more semesters. But yeah, it's just like, I've moved quite a lot of times in my life. I've lived in various different homes. The longest I've ever been in one place is 14 years. Actually, wait, that was a lie. Was it 14 years? No, it was probably 12. I don't know why I said 14. I thought it was 14. I'm measuring the amount of time it has been since we moved back to the States from Scotland. That's what I was measuring. But it was 12 years. That was the longest we've ever lived in one house. Since I was alive in my lifetime. But it's just like, you can't really change the circumstances you're in unless you want to change them. Like, you have to be the one to change them. You will stay the same. You will stay stagnant unless you change. You cannot, like, no one can force you to get help. You're the only one that can accept the help and get the help. Nothing will change if someone forces you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot lead a horse to water and force it to drink the water. It has to actively choose to drink the water. You need to actively choose to change. You need to actively choose to do something today that will make you a better person tomorrow. Next time you are faced with change, I encourage you to embrace it, because you truly never know where it'll take you and what level of character development you could have. Thanks for watching, and I will try not to look at my iPad as much next time. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you can get something out of it and do one thing today to make yourself a better person tomorrow.